we really haven't gotten a lot of information about how this deal has worked out. But curious, how exactly does AOL fit into Verizon right now, and how are things working out so far?
Yeah, no, so I think, thank you, first of all, for having us on. There's really some great activity happening about how AOL is actually fitting within Verizon. What's happened is Verizon was one of our largest customers, and they understood the value that we provided from creating customer segments and actually doing ad technology. And what they decided to do was actually combine our assets and create a wholly owned division within the Verizon entity. So we operate under the same strategy and the same guidelines that we had within AOL, but there are assets that Verizon has given us to actually build that new next generation media company. So the strategy that we had as AOL is only reinforced by the acquisition that Verizon has given us.
Okay. So how are you incorporating Verizon's user data, and how is Verizon changing now that you're here?
Yeah, so the most important asset I think that we brought to the party was our automated media buying stack that Verizon were allowed to use part of the Verizon data as long as the consumer has opted into the permission for us to use the data. And what we're able to do with that data is very, very interesting. What we can do with that data is we can actually serve great consumer experiences and content experiences to consumers in ways that they've never been able to do before. So because we're able to use that data and understand, number one, the behavior, the context that somebody's in, and what they're consuming, we can actually serve them more content that provides us with more information about that. From that context, what we can do then is go to brand advertisers to give brand advertisers the opportunity to bring great brand experiences to that consumer like they've never had before. So, for example, if somebody's in Seattle watching the Seattle Seahawks game, their environment, the context that they're in is going to be very different than if somebody's in Miami watching the Miami Dolphin game.
So, you know, you're the guy who led AOL's programmatic ad efforts. You know, that's transforming digital ads. But what's it going to take for it to come to television and for TV networks to embrace this? Yeah,
so listen, I think we're in a world that's really, really an interesting time right now. And the great news about AOL is we're sort of helping to change the inertia, because there's an inertia model in there where money is just sort of, and the economics are really just a self-fulfilling prophecy. But what we're doing is we're actually not only looking at the digital space, but we're taking the technology that we know in digital and we're applying it to linear TV on the supply side. We've actually gone outside of the U.S. because there's great supply and access to supply in Australia to actually test the model and make it work. So what we're going to be able to do in the future is we're going to be able to use great data and great technology and apply it to linear TV feeds so that we can actually serve relevant advertising to people when they're watching linear TV, and also on the OTT platforms and on their mobile platforms.